This presentation is going to talk about hacking. It's not your typical crime, and if we want to understand more about the motivations behind hackers, we have to understand the crime that they're engaging in. The driving issue in an information economy, of course, is that information is expensive to produce, but it's cheap to reproduce. That means that for a firm, developing the information takes a lot of time and effort and resources. But in terms of reproducing that information, all you really need to do is have a computer and a couple of folks who can just tell the computer to copy the data. As a result of that, when hackers enter the world, when data thieves, in essence, become part of the equation, their ability to steal things is really quite a lot easier than say your normal theft. What is unique about hacking? Well, hacking is theft, so in that case, it's not really that unique. But there are certain characteristics about the whole process of hacking that make the hacker's activities different from your normal thieves or from your normal criminals. One of the most important things to understand about hacking is how difficult it is to find the perpetrators and how anonymous the hacking itself can be. Now, that anonymity works in two different ways. There's the idea that the thief themselves can become pretty anonymous pretty quickly, so that the efforts of law enforcement to track the activity of hackers is not as simple as finding out where a hack originated from. So what computer did it come from, or what thumb drive was the malicious software contained on. A good hacker is going to use a whole system across the internet to mask their activities. Whether this is a botnet, whether this is something that happens through the Tor network, there are lots and lots and lots of tools that help to ensure a decent hacker's anonymity. But the other side of anonymity lies in the lack of connection between the hacker and the victim. There's been research done that shows that people are much more likely to perpetrate a crime against someone who they don't see, who they don't know, than they are if they have to rob them face to face. So it's much easier and much less unpleasant for a hacker to steal somebody's bank account. So maybe it's some little old lady and it's her retirement savings, but you never see her. All you see is a number on the bank account. This is much different than going and robbing the little old lady or mugging her in the street and seeing her expression. So anonymity on the part of the hacker and on the part of the victim alters the context of this crime. Information theft is also very difficult to detect. Data can easily be copied, as we mentioned at the outset of this presentation. It's difficult to produce, it's costly to produce the data and the information, but it's really, really cheap to reproduce it. And that's not important just for the firm doing the reproducing, but it's also important for the thief. You can steal data, and the source of the data, or the company who owns the data, may never ever know it, because you're not actually taking the data, you're taking a copy of the data. Additionally, you don't really need all that much more manpower to steal more data. You just might need a bigger server. So in the case of a criminal stealing a television, maybe he can get that taken care of on his own. But if you want to steal more TVs, you either need a lot more time or you need more help. And whenever you have more people involved in a crime, the likelihood of somebody spilling the beans, or likelihood of somebody talking and making those crimes known, increases quite substantially. Another problem with hacking is that sometimes you can install malicious software or malware or some sort of a vulnerability on a computer or on a phone or on a tablet, and it can lay dormant for months or years. As a result, the company who's trying to protect the data may think that they've protected uh, their information and their clients a from an incursion, whereas what they've really done is sort of fenced the rabbit inside the garden. So instead of protecting from outside sources attacking your data or stealing your data, it's too late because the malicious software, the malware is already part of the system. It's already there and you don't even know it. This would sort of be like locking your house with the criminal already inside. That's a lot harder to do than it is to not know that there's some malicious software on your systems. Finally, anyone who tries to store data is at risk of being hacked. So if you have your data and you're the only one who has your data and you can protect it more easily because there's only one access point for your data. But as that data gets shared, whether it is a company who stores your personal data for the purpose of data mining, or whether you've got your passwords on different devices, anywhere that you store data becomes an access point. And the more places that data gets stored, and it's easy to store data in different places because it's just basically just a string of numbers, it becomes easier to steal that data. If you can't really keep your car more than one place, so all you need to do is protect the location where the car is. That's a more conventional way of protecting property. But when it comes to data, that data can be reproduced so easily and stored so many different places that now there's lots of different access points. And again, so this makes hacking a much different kind of crime.